I am Judy, and I am absolutely, totally, irrevocably unique, like each of you. No one else has my genes, my experiences, my memories, my fears. But there is one thing that I have in common with 79,999 other Australians. I have Parkinson's disease. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about Parkinson's disease, a progressive, debilitating illness of the central nervous system. Our brains have cells that produce a chemical called dopamine, which is essential for a smooth muscle movement. When there is not enough dopamine, our body slows down. Sometimes it stops. There is no diagnostic test for Parkinson's. But by the time a person has been diagnosed, up to 80% of those dopamine-producing cells in the brain are dead, never to return. And Parkinson's can also affect other parts of the brain that have to do with memory, thinking, speaking. While there is no cure for Parkinson's, progression is usually slow, and management involves treatment, of step-by-step treatment of the symptoms as they appear. Each of us, in the same way that we are unique, each of us with Parkinson's has our own story to tell. Michael J. Fox and Muhammad Ali have had Parkinson's for over 20 years, and each has told their own story. Tonight, I would like to share mine. While there is no diagnostic test for Parkinson's, I suspected that it was happening to me in 2005. I recognized symptoms from my mother, who also had Parkinson's. When I walked down the street, it felt like my right foot was slapping against the footpath. My writing would start out normally and get smaller and smaller and smaller until it was totally illegible. My steps got closer together. My arms didn't move. I leaned forward. My whole posture changed. I had difficulty focusing on paperwork. Anything requiring thinking and concentration was a chore. The fact that cinnamon, which is a dopamine-type medication, completely reversed all my symptoms, confirmed my diagnosis. In the beginning, I did not want to know all the things that could happen to me. Like many others, I was overwhelmed by the potential of my body to undermine my security, my self-esteem, my relationships, my future. Recently, my friend Sarah, who also has Parkinson's and lives on Dangar Island, gave me this book. It's by Gabriela Rogers, and it's called Parkinson's Disease: Diagnosis, Treatment, and Management. The main message in that book and other sources of information is that we are not alone. There is a wide network of organizations such as Parkinson's New South Wales who provide support groups, counseling, and information. When Sarah gave me that book, I didn't know whether to hate her or to love her. But I know now that her timing was perfect for me. So, How is my life in the slow lane as defined by Parkinson's? Life with Parkinson's disease can be challenging, but it can also reveal strengths that you never thought you had. When it is difficult to go, when you think you can go no more, you keep on going. Other than 15 years away at universities in Armidale and Perth, my husband and I have lived on Dangar Island on the Hawkesbury River for 42 years. We retired back in 2003. And because we do everything by public transport, our daily activities depend on public transport, boat, train, taxi, bus, walking, we are stronger physically than when we moved there 8 years ago. And for a progressively degenerating disease, to become stronger is our true asset. For me, one of the most frustrating aspects of Parkinson's is the on-off syndrome or system that happens due to medication. When your medication is on, when it kicks in, you feel like you can fly. Nothing's going to hold you back. Everything's the same as it's always been. There's no problem whatsoever. But within a step, it can completely change. I can go from sitting in my exercise class and doing 20 squats on the chair like that, and then be told to stand behind the chair, and now we're going to do 2 steps right and 2 steps left. What do? You can't do anymore. And as I said, we have this extra strength, and just to show you how good it is, last week my husband and I brought home on train and our boat 39 kilograms of groceries. Just the two of us, all by ourselves. With the medication, initially, there is a honeymoon period. The on period comes very quickly, almost instantaneous. And you, as I said, you feel you can handle anything. And when the off period comes, it really is taken care of very quickly by the medication. So there's not much interval in between when you haven't got the medicine in you. But over time, the medication becomes less efficient, and the on time takes longer to kick in, and the off time comes earlier. Initially, I planned my day around a 4-hour cycle. Today, I plan it around a 3-hour cycle. But I take an extra pill for Toastmasters. As the years have passed, my on times have become shorter, and sometimes they even fail to appear. I would get upset, frustrated, and often on the verge of tears. But no matter now how short my interval of on time is, when I'm on, man, I fly. There is no holding me back. In my exercise class, they are so used to me taking off like a bat out of hell, when minutes before, I could hardly move. I rejoice in my on time. And when the off comes, if I have to, I slow down. Or actually, I do slow down, but if I have to, I keep going. The switch from on and off can be immediate and frightening. The posture changes. Your stride becomes very awkward, and you're stiff, and the whole thing, you just don't look right. There is an immediate energy drain. You feel like you're carrying lead weights. Your steps become quicker and close together. And sometimes you get going like this, and they freeze. There's no reason for it. You don't know why, but they freeze. And with the loss of balance that you have as well, that can create falls. I recently saw a man in Westfield Shopping Center, and he was standing still. He had a small bag of groceries in his hand, and he was looking at the floor. And I knew that he was waiting for his brain to make the connection to his feet so he could move forward. I've been very lucky. In the 6 years since I was diagnosed, I've had minimal effects compared to others. It is difficult to imagine what challenges they must face, and the simplest tasks, how much the simplest task can be difficult. But at the same time, it can sometimes be funny. While uncontrolled tremors play a small part in my life, my friend Sarah, as I said, has Parkinson's and also lives on Long Island, has quite pronounced tremors when her medication is low. That means that when she wants to use a mobile phone to call her husband and say, come pick her up from the exercise class, she has difficulty in dialing the numbers. And then to try to get the phone to her ear so she can hear what her husband says or to talk on it is almost impossible. Last week, she told me how she and her sister had a stereo shutdown. Her sister also has Parkinson's, and the two of them were using their portable phones, and they both hit the wrong button at the same time, and boop, no sound. They lost each other. And we laughed about that. We laugh a lot, Sarah and I and our friends. Both Sarah and I, and a lot of other people with Parkinson's, have difficulty in turning over in bed at night or getting out of bed, especially in the winter. But I have solved that problem. I now have these sexy black satin sheets, and when I wear my satin nightshirt with that, and I go to turn over in bed, I slip from one side of the bed to the other, and it is absolutely wonderful. I love my satin sheets. Life with Parkinson's is a series of challenges, and I am pleased with the way I faced them. However, there are some symptoms which I have experienced, 3 aspects which are of special concern to me. Although I do not dwell on it, I fear losing my balance and falling. After 12 years from her diagnosis with Parkinson's, my mother fell 3 times. Her feet froze, and the momentum of her body carried her over the front of her walker. She broke her arm. She broke her collarbone. And she broke her neck, which required a halo brace screwed into her skull for 7 months. Serious injury through falling can make a big change to my life when I'm married to a man who considers Dangar Island heaven on earth. What about the effects of Parkinson's on other parts of my brain? I have noticed for some time a definite decrease in my ability to focus on intellectual work, such as teaching, preparing lectures, preparing speeches, doing my accounts. I realized that my teaching career was coming to an end in 2008 when I could not do a simple task, match 4 speakers to 4 evaluators. And I stood up behind my desk in absolute frustration and said, I can't do this! Fortunately, Don Rita and I have been working together on the course for some time, and we made a smooth transition when she took over the program in 2010. I now have difficulty, especially during my off times, in providing an objective, helpful evaluation to my friends in Toastmasters. I would really rather step into an empty spot on the agenda than be assigned a role ahead of time. And what about my ability to communicate with others, to talk? Those who know me are aware of how much I love being up in front. When I was a little girl, I told my mother I wish my mouth went all the way around my head so I would not get tired when I talked. Well, it doesn't. And I don't. But I had a recent scare when I was trying to hold a conversation with friends, and I could not say the word smallpox. I could not make my words come out in a coherent way. It only lasted a short time, but it was frightening. Muhammad Ali liked being up in front, and he liked to talk. He can't now. What am I going to do if I can't talk? Let me put all this into perspective. Let me tell you, I will never be free of Parkinson's disease. What does it mean to me in the years ahead? Well, in spite of my daily challenges and concerns for the future, I have to say in all honesty that Parkinson's has been a gift to me. I don't dread my future. I don't regret my past. And I refuse to accept the worst scenarios as my scenario. I could go through my days in fear of what could happen. I could fall like my mother. I could not be able to talk like Muhammad Ali. But their life with Parkinson's is not my life with Parkinson's. Remember, like me, my Parkinson's is absolutely, totally, and irrevocably unique. Regardless of whether I have Parkinson's disease, whether I'm completely debilitated with a serious accident, or I depend on others for my survival. Like you, I can only live 1 minute at a time. Now, that is all I have. And from where I stand, life looks great. I am so blessed with so many friends, many of whom I've met through Toastmasters. Others are members of my senior exercise class who have lived on Dangar Island for years, and I did not know them. And now they are among my best friends and certainly part of my support group. Parkinson's disease has opened so many doors for me, and I am thankful that I have seen them as opportunities to learn and to grow. Years ago, I placed second in the Division International Speech Contest. And in that speech called Growing Up, I said, "You cannot learn the lessons of life until you have lived them." When I look back over the last 6 years, I visualize my illness as a small triangular red flag placed at the side of my path by my angels and guides. And with it was a message that said, "Judy, you're not giving yourself the time you need to do the things that are important, and we're going to give it to you." I know there will be slow times. I know there will be low times. But these also could be opportunities. When I expressed my fears to my daughters, I received the following: enjoy your moments of inability. Have you ever thought that they could be gifts of time from your angels to just sit and to be? Don't let yourself get so caught up in the trying to do that you can't enjoy the don't. With the help of my latest and greatest teacher, Parkinson's disease, there are still many lessons to learn.